Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. So, our Lord and Savior PvPoke.com made this amazing team where he went 9-1 with it. So I'm gonna try it today, and I actually went 6-0 with it. Well, technically it's a 5-0, but technically it's a 6-0, so you'll see shortly. Anyways, it features Deoxys defense lead, Sableye save switch, and Charm Tails in the back. Charm A9 is very powerful in the back. You can save it with shields. The front row does look weak to Umbreon, however, I do play an Umbreon lead in this, and I managed to come out of it and come out with a W. So you're going to see how this team is able to pivot around Umbreon leads and its weaknesses thanks to the 30-second timer. So again, please consider follow PvPoke.com on Twitter and consider donating to PvPoke.com. And without further ado, let's get on to the shop. Alright, so like I mentioned before, it's technically a 5-0, but you'll see why. So, I do 6-0, but technically it's a 5-0. You'll see why. So, for my first match, I got Deoxys on a Bastiodon. This is really great because with Bastiodon, like, you pretty much what you do is you just beat the unholy crud out of this wall-face metal, steel, rock, dinosaur thingy. So, yeah, as you see here, I'm just getting a ton of energy. So, even a a Stone Edge or a Flamethrower won't actually kill you. You can live like 2 of them. As you see here, I'm going to eat this one pretty comfortably. I'm just going to gain a ton of energy on Deoxys defense. I do not have to switch out. So, I'm just going to keep punching. And then, as you see here, I'm going to fire a Rock Slide. So, the reason I'm firing a Rock Slide right now is because I just want to get a little bit of energy. Because even though this does do, like, it's double resisted, as you see here, I should be able to farm it down without it taking me out. And I get the full farm down. So I measured perfectly. I should be at like 100 energy. So I have all this energy queued up to throw at the next Mon. We still have Sableye and we still have a whole Ninetales with Charm. So as you see here, I'm going to fire Rock Slide right away just to slow down the match a little bit. I'm going to throw in my own Sableye. I'm pretty comfortable with Charm because we got Charm Tails, so I do really well with Charm Ninetales. But as you see, I'm going to switch in Sableye. The reason I'm doing this is because Charm 2 Shield Strat. It's that simple. Charm 2 Shield Strat. That's what I'm thinking. Charm 2 Shield Strat. And if the switch clock runs out, what I can do is I can throw in my Alolan Ninetales into this Sableye and possibly take it out with the Charm damage. As you see here, we do grab a shield and I still have Deoxys defense with all that energy. I think I do let the... Do I let this through? I think I do. Because like I said, I just saved both of your shields for Alolan Ninetales at this point. Charm Tails is really powerful. I switch into Ninetales, and I happen to catch a foul play, which is okay, because this is okay. This is okay, because I do resist it, because Alolan Ninetales is Fairy, and I actually have a Medicham in the back, and this is essentially GG's. So, again, 2 Shield Ninetales, very powerful. I still have all that energy with Deoxys defense. So, there was plenty of win conditions here, but like I said, just keep tapping. Yeah. This is why Charm Tails is so oppressive, or just Charm in general, in this newer meta, because what you can do is switch in the Charmer for Charm damage in between a move. Sometimes you can catch a move on accident, like I did with A9, and sometimes it works. At this point, I'm just going to shield, because there's no point. I should be able to just completely charm down this Medicham, but I actually get a little fancy here. I'm going to break a shield, and because Deoxys defense has all that energy, why not use it? There's the Weather Ball. I grab the shield, I switch into Deoxys defense, and I try to look really, really cool, even though all I really had to do instead of this entire mess was just hit a charm. And then it would have been GG's, but that's GG's. So, there you go. Great match with my opponent. It was pretty sweet, but yeah, that's GG's. Good GG's. I didn't, like I said, I didn't even be that fancy. All I had to do was really charm down, but hey, you know what? It's good practice. It's good practice. For our next match, this is the one I'm talking about where I'm like, okay, technically, this is a 5-0. I mean, I still 6-0, but technically this is a 5-0. But you'll see why. So here's my second match. I think this is the one that's like iffy. I get Deoxys into Umbreon. So this team is really weak to Umbreon. And Umbreon lead, like, I'll beat some, you'll see reason why, but like, this is the wrong move here. I shouldn't have switched in. But, as you see here, this team has an Alolan Marowak. I think this team was basically built to hard counter this line. Because, Alolan Marowak doesn't do, well, you don't need to switch out of the Sableye matchup if you switch in. That's why we're just going to try to charm down. As you see here, I'm going to just try to fire. I need to get rid of the Alola Marowak, so I'm going to shield everything. Hopefully, I can take out or, like, use the, like, rest of this A9's HP to take out this Umbreon. I switch into my Sableye, hoping to get as much energy as I can. Now, as you see here, I'm just going to straight fire return. I need to keep my A9 as healthy as possible. Like, we don't have a comfy matchup against our DD, so I'm not sure what's in the back. So, we get Foul Played here. Of course, it's neutral damage, which is great, but it's still not comfortable because since I'm using a really, really bad Sableye, if you look at the top left, this Sableye is probably level, like, 42, something like that. Yeah, I am not gonna have a good time. I swap in perfectly to catch the move on my A9, which will allow me to survive a little more chip damage, but you probably already know what's coming in. Alola Marowak is coming to end my life. So as you see here, my opponent elects to take more chip damage. I'm gonna they send an AWAC, and I was waiting for it. I want to hit Weather Ball on this AWAC. So we're still in a rough spot, but there's still a possibly we can come out with a W. As you see here, I fire back to back. I managed to fire back to back Weather Balls, which is great because like I need to take out this AWAC. And as you see, AWAC is a thick boy when it does resist moves. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch in our Sableye and Charm down. Or farm it down. As you see, my opponent is frantically firing. I will fire this Foul Play. So I can fire the Foul Play. Hopefully I grab a shield. If I don't, it's going to kind of suck. So I don't grab a shield. And I'm going to keep firing this. I get a second one off, but unfortunately I don't. Well, I don't actually get a second one off. I get to a second one, but I'm not able to fire it. So they fire their Foul Play. Now I'm going to have a DD. And I should DD. Well, actually I send in my A9 to try and farm down. And I managed to successfully get Deoxys defense on this. It's a DD on DD matchup. So basically my only way to win here is to basically sacrifice my Deoxys defense. Or not sacrifice my DD, sacrifice my A9. So I have to sack on A9 and that's my win con. Because I have all this energy on both of my Mons. So all I really have to do is 1, watch out for Umbreon being sacked, and 2, sack my A9. So it's kind of really interesting how you look at it with a 30-second switch clock. Because they don't have Rock Slide, I have a chance to win it here. As you see here, it does lag a little bit, but this is actually terrible because now I don't know how much energy my opponent has, or how much counters they have as far as energy goes. I fire a Rock Slide, but because I can't count, I can't really catch a move. So this is still really rough. As you see here, it does lag. And I think this is when I'm like, alright, yeah. So, as you see here, the Rock Slide goes off, they don't move. So, I still had a win condition here. All I really had to do was fire the Rock Slide, because 1 Thunderbolt won't kill me. Then, make sure that I sack my... Yeah, I still had win cons here, so even if they did lag, I could still win. But my opponent lagged, so... Yeah, that kind of takes away the allure, but there was still a winning chance. As you see, that Umbreon was 1 counter away, so all I have to really do is watch out for the Umbreon sack. Umbreon sack, get 2 Rock Slides off, sack my A9. I had plenty of win con still. So even though my opponent technically lagged out, I still could have won that. So I still had potential to win. So that's why I was like, so technically this is a 6-0, but like, I mean, technically this is a 5-0. Well, it's a 6-0, but like, I could have lost that match, but I still had play in that match too, so... Right here, I get a Surfetched into my DD. This is great because, guess what? We resist these counters, so this is actually really good for us. So we're going to counter, and we're going to get a ton of energy for our Deoxys defense here. As you see here, what we can do here is... I'm actually going to gather up to Psycho Boost to threaten. Yes, my opponent can use Night Slash, which this duck has. Hopefully I don't get burped here. And it is a Night Slash. Night Slash hurts, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. As you see, my opponent swaps into Hypno, and it takes me a little bit to recognize that, oh, that's a Hypno. So guess what? I'm going to send in my Sableye. So this is a really good matchup for us. Yes, Thunder Punch is going to hurt, especially since my Sableye isn't, like, level 50. As you see here, I get Thunder Punch, but my Sableye isn't level 50. So because it's so low, that Thunder Punch did, like, half my HP. So... if you have a stronger Sableye or a level 50 Sableye or Best Buddy Sableye, I would say it would do loads better than my Sableye right here, sadly. Because my poor boy isn't super thick, so without all that extra bulk, Thunder Punch actually does chunk a little bit. So, as you hear, they switch into a Bastion. Okay, so this is absolutely terrible. You want to know why? Because Bastiodon resists my Charmers, and basically I still have to deal with that Surfetched. So I have to set, I already recognize here that so what you have to do is save your DD for Bastiodon. Bastiodon can run through Charm Tails and it can run through Sableye. So the only choice you have is one to really beat the unholy hell out of Wallface like I'm doing right now. And do as much damage as you can to hopefully counter down or force your opponent's shields. I send in my DD. I do shield here because like I said, I need DD for this Bastiodon. I should be alright though, as long as I keep my energy to my wits, I should be okay, because my opponent doesn't know I have Ninetales. I'm gonna fire this Psycho Boost, and I believe I do switch into my A9, because since they switch locked into me, well, with the 30-second switch timer, switch locking isn't too much of a big deal. But when you're up against an A9, it's pretty comfy for you. Or a Charmon. When you have a Charmtails, it's pretty good. As you see, they do Leaf Blade. They should be able to swap out soon, but unfortunately, that Surfetch goes down. Now, all I have to do is save my shield. I'm going to fire Weather Ball here. This should prompt my opponent's shield, and I should be able to just counter down. But that's GG's. Again, like, you have to save DD for the Bastiodon, but you could still do a lot of damage over time if it goes through. As you see, all I do is switch in. I'm going to shield this so I don't get knocked out, and then I'm just going to punch poor Wallface to death. GG's to my opponent. Again, when you see the Bastiodon, if it's in the back, make sure you try to align DD with it, because with Sableye, yes, if you have a good Sableye, which mine isn't even level 50, you could do some heavy damage, but you have to keep in mind that Bastiodon can take a few foul plays. So just make sure you save DD for save DD for the Basti, and then you should be okay. But as you see there, we comfortably win. We technically won. Well, the thing about it is yes, we technically won the lead. However, because that's a Surfetch with Night Slash, if that thing got the boost, we'd be in a little bit of trouble. So this is match number, I believe this is match number 4. So again, really GG's to my opponent, but this team is super powerful. I like it a lot of pressure. DD is a monster lead, and you can still win even if you lead against an Umbreon. Alright, so here's what's going to happen here. When you lose to an Umbreon, here's what sucks. I switched to A9 as a safe because I'm going to get it on this Umbreon. My opponent switches late and switches into Cresselia. So this is rough. The good thing is I have Sableye for the Deoxys defense, and my opponent doesn't know that yet. So I'm going to do as much Charm and Weather Ball damage as I can with my A9, and hopefully we can make something happen, because Grass Knot and Moonblast still do a decent chunk of damage to my A9. And Cresselia is a very tanky mon. It's really good in this meta, just because of your ability to switch out, but because Grass Knot and Moonblast also have great coverage. As you see here, it is a Moonblast. I don't get debuffed. I switch into Sableye because I want to get as much energy as I can. My goal here is to chip away at the Umbreon with return damage, and hopefully be able to keep it low enough or get it low enough to where I can fire just a couple of charms and take out the Umbreon. As you see here, I no longer have any shield, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the big return, and I'm going to attempt to charm this Umbreon to death. I still don't know what they have in the back, but at this point, now my opponent knows what my line is. They know I have A9, they know I have Deoxys defense, so I have to be very, very careful here. I'm going to fire the return. If they shield it, it's going to suck. However, they know they can live this, so they probably won't shield it. And as you see, they do not. However, they are falling into my master plan. I swap into my Charmtails, and I attempt to charm down. As you see, they do fire a move. I have to eat it. I don't have a choice. And hopefully, Deoxys defense and like 2 sack swaps can give me the W. Hopefully. So as you see here, they switch back into their Cresselia. I will fire the Weather Ball right away. I do not want to eat another charger from Cresselia as well, because my shields are down, basically. My shields are down, so I don't want to get hurt. This KOs the Cresselia, however, and we get a Politoed. Okay, so this is going to suck. My opponent still has 2 shields, so essentially what I have to do is I have to sack. I don't get the sack, but my opponent has to blow their energy here. So this is still a win for me. 1 Weather Ball shouldn't kill my Sableye, but because it's not dead, it's pretty uncomfortable. Or if I get Earthquaked. Either way, it doesn't really matter because, like I said, it's a crappy Sableye, so Earthquake takes me out. My opponent's probably going to Earthquake me again. So they're going to Earthquake me over here, and they do not. They decide to Weather Ball. I think they wanted to switch out the clock, as you see here. They did indeed want to run the clock, so they run the clock and they send an Umbreon. I'm going to Rock Slide the Umbreon. I think my opponent's going to just save their shields because there's no reason to. They actually saved their shields for Umbreon, which in my opinion was a misplay because now I can charm down. So now that my opponent misplayed and I charmed down their Umbreon like my original master plan, now all I have to do is just Weather Ball, and my opponent has to basically shield everything, because if they don't, I charm them down. And I'm still able to get to a Psycho Booth with Deoxys defense. So as you see here, my opponent does indeed shield. I'm doing massive damage with these charms, and all I have to do is send in my DD with energy, or my opponent just top lefts, and that's GG's. But as you see here, that's the play against Umbreon. You have to basically chip it down and then make sure that A9 can charm it. That's your win con against Umbreon leads. So it's not impossible to win against Umbreon leads. I mean, yeah, it's not impossible. There are ways out of it, but you have to be a little fancy. Get it down to as low as you possibly can with return, then after that, charm it down. It was kind of great that my opponent kind of misplayed there, because in my opinion, you didn't really need to switch in. You really didn't need to switch in Umbreon, but essentially it would have been the same result anyways, because all I really had to do was just keep alignment and make sure everything was safe. So after that, all I have to, that's, like I said, that's just GG's. Another issue probably would be Sableye lead. Sableye lead might give you an issue too, so I would keep that in mind and be very careful and mindful of that as well. As you see here, we get another match. We get our DD into an A9. So, is this a Charm A9 or a Weather Ball or a Powder Snow A9? This is the magic question. As you see here, they switch out right away, which is kind of strange to me because I didn't figure it out, but I'm assuming that's... I have no idea why they switched out. But now they are locked into... Their Shiny Medicham is locked into my A9 with Charm, which is really great. As you see here, that Medicham is not maxed out. It looks... I don't know if that's a Shundo or something like that. However, I don't really have to shield anything here. I could just farm it. I could just charm it down. And then I have A9 versus whatever A9's in the back, etc. They do bait me here. However, I did not want to eat a Psychic. Why eat a Psychic when you can just... Yeah, I didn't want to eat a Psychic because it is a Charmtails. Even if it wasn't one, like I wouldn't want to eat all that Psychic damage. Especially if I get debuffed, then I would suck. So it is a Charm A9. So it's Charm on Charm action here, and this is kind of terrible for us for one specific reason. I have Sableye. Sableye dies to Charm very, very quickly. So we need to keep our Sableye away from this Charm Ninetales at all cost. As you see, I will switch into DD. I'm going to gather a little bit of energy. I do shield this because I'm like, what if my opponent has a Dazzling... Actually, I don't shield it. So yeah, it's a Weather Ball. But I was kind of like really debating. I was like, is this a Dazzling Gleam? And if it is, I die. So they swap into an Azumarill. This is actually terrible for us because one, they resist our counters. Two, I am not rocking Thunderbolt. I gather a little bit of energy here to make my opponent think I have Thunderbolt though. So as you see here, I do grab the last shield, manage to bait the shield with my opponent thinking I have it. I swap into Sableye, and this is kind of terrible. The reason being is because I need to return this Azu. And I did shield the player off, which is great, because if I don't shield the player off, I die. As you see here, I am just going to try to get as much energy as I can before... I don't want Sableye to take too much damage, so as you see here, I just go one Shadow Claw over, because like I said, I don't want to... my win con is to, one, catch a play rough, and two, I have to hit a return. So, I have multiple win cons here too, like I can sack A9, which I do! Oh, this sexy swap. This should be the play rough. And then all I'm going to do is just return this poor soul down. I think, yeah, I've just returned them and I think I Shadow Claw down. But as you see there, I still had multiple win cons. But dang, that was a really sweet sack. So here's the return. Again, all I have to do is just like Shadow Claw, get another Foul Plate, and that should be GG's. That, or I still have Deoxys defense, but this is essentially game because my opponent has to fire 2 charge moves to take me out. So, as you see here, with so much pressure with Sableye DD still in the back, even though Azu does resist these counters and it resists my foul plays, I still take the W. And that's GG's. Great match by my opponent, so that was very, very sweaty. So, yeah, that was insanely sweaty. Alright, as you see here, we get this sweet 5-0, and you get to see how terrible I am at throwing a Pokeball at a Tornadus. As you see, we went 5-0 again. That second match could have cost us, because we still, it was still pretty close, but you know what? We still had chances to win, so technically, we still back, because we still would have won, yeah. But as you see here, I do lose the lead against Umbreon. There are plenty of plays. The reason I like Charm A9 so much with this team that PvPoke put together, it's because it really does take advantage of the fact that, one, you get Weather Ball really quickly, and two, you do resist what, like, Sableye. You resist Sableye, you also resist Umbreon's Foul Play. So there's a lot of things you can do with A9 that you can't do. Plus, like I said, because it has Ice Weather Ball, it gets there. I think even though it's 6 charms and it takes a minute, it still gets to its fast move faster than all the other Charmers in the game. And like I said, because of that resistance, it does the Dark Resistance, it does very, very well in this meta. You have to be careful with the Umbreon. However, like you saw in one of my matches, all you have to do is really just charm it down. Once you do chip damage and you get charm down, you can possibly come back and take that match down and shield. But this definitely, like, I would say the roughest lead is probably a Sableye lead for you. Sableye lead would be absolutely terrible. You could mirror with, say, your other Sableye. However, if they have a Sableye / Umbreon, like, if it's a double Dark team, then you're kind of in trouble. But, as you see here, we finally catch our Tornadus, and we are going to enter Go Battle League. This is actually this is my first incarnate one, so... Well, actually, this is my first Tornadus ever. Wait, what? Okay, that is my first Tornadus ever. As you see here, we go 5-0. And we go up a lot of points! Yay! A lot of lag has basically been killing my... Like, I was higher than this, but a lot of lag has basically cost me a lot of matches that would have made either 1, my set a lot less effective, or 2, I actually would have, like, 4-1 or 5-0'd. So, like, lag has been costing me a lot of W's. This is match number 6, the 6th and final match, but hopefully you guys are doing well, but the game is just super laggy right now. Seems to lag at really bad moment. Like, it seems to really lag, and with the switch timer the way it is, you can't afford to lag at any given moment. We get Charm A9, well, not Charm A9, we get A9 into our Deoxys. So, the thing is, this A9 actually beats us in the 2 shield. So, if you have an attack weight A9, or I'm not sure the bulk or breakpoint, you can beat Deoxys defense in the 2 shield. So, this is kind of rough. My opponent's going to chip me down with Weather Ball, so I have to be very careful. Because I don't know the IVs of this Ninetales, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sack my DD, and I'm just going to let it tank all this damage. As you see here, I'm not firing a single move. What I'm going to hope for is that I can get to another Rock Slide and hopefully break the second shield and just come out of this with, like, a shield advantage. So that's what I'm hoping for. But my opponent switches into a DD, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to switch into Sableye. I'm like, oh, yeah. Sableye has a fantastic matchup against Deoxys defense, and why I mentioned that if you get a Sableye lead, this kind of sucks, because Sableye is such a beast against Deoxys defense. Because even though I have a level 41 Sableye, it's not even maxed. Like, it's not like level 50 maxed. It still does half, like, of Deoxys defense's HP. But, of course, that means Thunderbolt does a ton of damage to me, because, like I said, it's not maxed out. But, as you see here, it's still chunking, and it's still doing a lot of damage. I don't shield this because there's no way my opponent has another Thunderbolt. This is probably a Psycho Boost, and you resist Psycho Boost. So as you see here, you're able to live through the Psycho Boost. You can farm down. Now I have a Foul Play banked, which is great. So we're going to fire another move, or we're just going to wait, basically. So as you see here, waiting for our opponent to make a decision. They are down shields, however, and I elect to switch out into my A9. Basically, this is what I'm thinking. Charm 2 Shield. Charm 2 Shield! Go Charm 2 Shield strats! And because my opponent is rocking Powder Snow, I am resisting these Powder Snow. So it's better to go for this play. Plus, I still have a DD and I have a queued Energy Sableye. And I am so happy I shielded that, because I was really debating, do I eat this? But if this is a Dazzling Gleam, this is going to suck. And I'm glad I did, because guess what's in the back? It's an Umbreon. This is essentially GG's, because all I have to do is... I am glad I did, because if I didn't have that Dazzling Gleam probably done enough damage to our opponent could probably snarl me down, and Deoxys defense and Sableye are pretty dead, so I'm glad I didn't risk the biscuit. But I should be able to just shield this, and then just charm my opponent down. I still have 2 sack shields, 2 sack swaps if I wanted to, and that's essentially GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed this shoutcast. Again, this is a very powerful team. There has multiple ways to beat Umbreon leads. Or you can beat Sableye leads. Again, just go ahead and charm it down. As you see here, we do go 6-0. Very strong team. If you haven't found a team that might work for you yet, this team can do very well for you. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed those battles. Again, Deoxys defense, you can use either Thunderbolt or Rock Slide. It's up to you. I just like Rock Slide because of that general coverage you get against most things anyways. With Rock Slide, you get that extra coverage against ice types. You also get that. You also cost less energy. So because it costs less energy, it only takes 7 like counters compared to, I believe, 8 it would with Thunderbolt. Like, it really does matter. So over time, like, where the, like, you can use Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt, there's really no issue. With Thunderbolt, you can take out Pelipper in one shot, and with Thunderbolt, you can take out Politoed. You threaten Politoed very heavily as well. But you can boost and dip. There's a lot of things you can do with Yox's defense. Sableye is your standard save switch for this. Again, if you see an Umbreon lead, try to switch in your A9 and try to, like, realign, do as much damage as you can with Umbreon so that you could take it out. Once you take out the Umbreon, try to come out of it and try to make something happen with shield disadvantage, or if you're able to play really well and hopefully find a win condition. If you guys have any questions, please put in the comments. Please like and subscribe. Good luck in your Go Battle League sets. Hopefully you guys enjoy this Switch timer thing. It's coming to an end soon, but hopefully, like I said, I hope you guys are enjoying it right now. Hope you guys are climbing very high, because unfortunately Go Battle League hasn't been too kind to me lately, so yeah. Good luck in Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ciao!